defined as a right, advantage, or immunity granted to a particular person or group. For example, compare a wealthy child to a poor child. The wealthy family is going to have access to better teachers and better doctors, to be able to continuously provide food and be able to engage in all the activities that they want. It's not to say that the wealthy family is better than the poor family by any means, but the money does give that child an advantage over the other. White privilege is real and embodies this principle. White people have a societal advantage to be seen to be the norm in America. To better understand what white privilege is, it's important to understand what it is not. It is not a way for white people, it's not to say that they didn't work for what they have. It's not a catalyst that would cause white people to feel ashamed for being white. It is not a way for white people to feel guilty about what they have and what they are. White privilege is a sociological aspect of our current culture that embodies the stereotypical differences of the human interactions between society and Caucasians and society and people who are not white. To get a better idea of the privileges that you experience for being white, ask yourself if this situation would be the same if you were not white. I don't have to worry about telling my children about the systematic racism that they will probably encounter. I don't have to worry about people being surprised whether I'm articulate and well-spoken. I don't have to worry about being followed or monitored in stores. I do not have to worry about whether I will or will not be perceived as a threat to law enforcement. I do not have to worry about the color of my skin tone getting me into trouble or possibly being murdered if I left my house. I do not have to worry about the race that systematically oppressed, abused, and appropriated my culture, telling me to just forget about it. Picture a full-time black college student going to work like any other day. He works at a child care center at a gym, and he's worked there for about 6 months now. And the kids and all the parents love him, except this one day, a white woman comes in her late 30s with her 4-year-old daughter. And we greet them, check them in, and I leave to go back to the front desk. And the mom pulls me aside and asks, "Are you really going to leave him alone with the children?" And I asked her if that would be a problem, to which she responded, "Well, who would trust somebody like that?" Never in my life, nor will I probably ever have to deal with a situation where my morals and my ethics are based on my skin tone. Being white does not mean that my life has been easy, that I was handed my car keys, my financial aid, or my good grades. It doesn't mean that I am racist or that I somehow think that I'm better than people who aren't white. But it does mean that I understand that being white has blessed me with not having to deal with the same struggles that black people have to deal with. An MTV documentary discussed the topic of scholarships over white privilege. However, white students felt discriminated against, that they felt an increase in minority-only scholarships were taking away their opportunities. Unfortunately, the numbers show that white people are 40% more likely to get merit-based scholarships. Even though white people constitute a 62% of the undergraduate program and minorities represent 38%, white people receive 69% of the scholarships while minorities only receive 31%. These numbers don't represent that minorities are given more of an opportunity. It doesn't even represent equal opportunity. It represents that minorities are receiving slightly more than they did before. White people are accustomed to certain privileges that they don't acknowledge until they're taken away and then claim that it was a right. It was not a right. It was a privilege to be able to easily acquire a scholarship. And now the playing field is just being leveled. The purpose of recognizing white privilege is, for the reality that it is so that society can address the obvious disproportions that are still prevalent today. We have to lean into the awkward conversations of diversity so that we have discussions instead of violence, so that we have changes instead of perpetuated cycles. George Santayana said, "Those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it." So So embrace what is today so that future generations can live in the society of equality that America was always meant to be.